What's going on, guys? So, we got good news and we have bad news. So, the bad news is it is a gloomy, rainy, freaking Tuesday. But the good news is that it is a peck popping, pump having, pre workout slamming Tuesday, baby. You know, there's always some good with some bad, yin and yang. Do I believe in yin and yang as a whole actual thing that affects the world? No, that's, to me, that's silly. But do I believe it's a great way to look at things? Any bad thing has a good thing in disguise? Absolutely. You know, you got to be able to learn from the good. I want to say learn from the good and the bad, but thinking about it more as I speak, you don't learn much from good. You learn from the bad if you're open to learning from the bad, right? Because you'll have people who they go through hardship after hardship, they never learn anything, and they keep going through them their entire lives. But when you sit back and analyze what you just went through and why you went through it, you know, when you do that, man, you become a significantly smarter, significantly better, more successful person because of it, you know? You know, they always say that God's going to put you through the same trumps and tribulations, or triumphs, tribulations, something like that, same problems, over and over and over again until you really learn how to handle it. So next time you're going through some nonsense, and I mean like problems, not like, you know, you got up late and you hit a red light and now you're late to work because of that red light, you know. Don't get mad at the red light. Ask yourself, well, hold on a second. Do I always get up way later than I should be getting up? You know, what's going on with that? Why is it that one red light that, statistically speaking, I could hit every day anyway is making me so mad right now? It's like, well, man, you got to work on your back end stuff. You got to work on your sleeping routine, going to bed on time, getting quality sleep, letting your body rest when it needs to rest, because, you know, red lights. Funny truck. Excuse me. Red lights are always going to be there. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. But the way you learn to handle why little things upset you so much, that's what you got to learn. So I learned for example, yesterday, I must have yawned a dozen times during this footage. And I said to myself, it's not even because I was exhausted, maybe exhausted a little bit, but I just needed something to sip on while I was doing it because my throat kept drying up. And then I should have brought a drink with me. So today I learned my lesson, right? All black everything. What is this? Fruit candy, energy drink, right? This is not going to be my pre-workout, although it's a fine pre-workout. I have my normal pre with me here. But these things are just really fun to sip on and enjoy. And it's funny is, like, if you give me a coffee, cheers. If you give me a coffee or energy drink, something like that, that thing will last me damn near the whole day. Because I'm like a sipper. You know, my pre-workout I slam because it has to get down. I need it for my workout, right? I can't just sip on it. But a cup of coffee, I love a good cup of coffee. So I'll just sip on it all day. To where, you know, if I get a hot coffee, I might heat it up once or twice because I'm just slowly enjoying it. Or if I'm drinking it because I want to, I'll end up having 2 or 3 cups, which, you know, it's not bad. Well, it's not great, but it's not bad for the reason you're thinking. Because I can drink all the caffeine in the world, and it doesn't really hit me. It doesn't really affect me. It kind of never has, you know? Even as a kid, when I first discovered coffee, in high school, whenever he was going out for iced coffees at Dunkin', like, before school or out on the lunch break, you'd come back with like an iced coffee, and you were like, not the cool kid, but you know, just someone doing something. It's like as soon as you get your license, every guy for the most part had like the lanyard hanging out of his pocket because you just knew like, oh, he has a car. So even drinking coffee that young, it never really gave me that wow, that buzz factor. Although it was like therapy with me and you guys. Thinking back on it now, maybe coffee never really hit me hard because before, believe it or not, before I was at the age of going to get coffee in the middle of the day for, you know, going back to class, I was already working out for a couple years at that point, and I was taking pre-workout, like 300 mgs of caffeine pre-workouts. So I might have burnt out my caffeine receptors as a kid. Huh. I mean, don't get me wrong. You give me a cup of coffee while I'm tired, like exhausted, it'll help me stay awake, but not in the sense of it gave me energy. I'm just no longer falling asleep, you know? But see what I mean? I take these little sips. I just like to wet my palate. And it tastes good. I'm just enjoying it, you know? When you give me an old fashioned, or give me like a good whiskey, I'm sitting there, I milk the thing. I fucking milk it. Unless I see if I see everyone around me is slamming their drinks, like, and I'm like 2 drinks behind, I never go out to get drunk. Far from it, nor do I. You know, I can drink as much dark liquor as I want, and my body just kind of processes it. But, like I said, once again, not that I really drink at all, it messes up my training. So if I go to like a nice dinner, I'll get like a really good old-fashioned, something like that. Like a whiskey, dark liquor based cocktail. But old-fashions are my babies. I love them. Only time I'll order a second drink is if I got an old-fashioned and it was really good. If I went somewhere and they had a really good old-fashioned, I'm like, all right, you know what? Tonight's a two Whiskey John night, which, once again, doesn't affect me at all. Totally fine. But it sure does taste good. So I enjoy that and I embrace it, man. And as should you. You know, save drinks, save alcohol for times it's deserved. You know, let it be a celebratory thing, not a coping mechanism for you. When you start to cope with bad habits, man, it's a very, very slippery slope. Because you'll need more and more as they stop working out. They stop wearing off. But if you give yourself like a treat, and I mean a treat because you deserved it, like you closed a big deal, or it's, I don't know, a nice dinner meeting, something like that, you know, that's worth it. But I'll never understand people who celebrate their birthdays, because that's the one thing in life you didn't have any part of. You just popped out of there on this date, and every year you're throwing yourself a freaking party. You know, you're getting hammered, you're celebrating. Man, if anything, you should be throwing your mom a party, not yourself. You didn't do anything that day. Hell, all you probably did that day was shit yourself. Is that what you're celebrating? You know, if you're going to celebrate a yearly thing, and your life was in absolute shambles at one point in your life, right? Everything looked down, there was no way out of it, and one day you get out, you crawl your way out, and everything's not just good but great. Man, that's the day. That's the freaking day you, excuse me, that's the day you pick to celebrate something, because that's a reason to freaking celebrate. The yearly anniversary of you changing your life around completely. You know, there's this guy I know. He owns a fitness company. He was on my podcast. I ran a podcast a long time, my buddy Nick Rizzo. And he runs the Rizology podcast now. So, if you're looking for a good show, he does a great job. But I ran a show with him for years called The Voice and Rizzles, where his last name is Rizzo. So Rizzles, everybody calls him. Me, I've been called The Voice forever by anybody I ever meet, and none of them even know each other. It's just the first nickname that comes out of mouth. So, this guy was on our podcast, and actually a really funny story about The Voice nickname fest. There's a Starbucks that I'll walk into on Long Island. Great people. I've been there a million times. But I could not, and I'm very friendly with everybody I meet, I could not go in there for a while. Anytime I walk into that building, half the staff, you just hear The Voice at the top of their lungs that I came in. You know, they're just excited, and it's nice to have some people there who aren't angry, decaffeinated shitheads, right? But, that's always fun. But back to the fitness guy. And you'll see how it tapers in a minute. He started this company, fitness company, where I can't really say the name of it, honestly, because we really don't talk anymore, so I don't want to boost or not, and I've never used his service, so I can't say if it's great or not. I'm sure it's fine. But regardless, he had this business model for a fitness industry, like a fitness type of company, if you will, because it's not like a regular gym. And he was talking to one of his clients a long time ago, and they said, he told the idea to him. He's like, listen, it's not going to work. He's like, it's got too many holes in it. It's like Swiss cheese, because the model was just a little complicated. Sure enough, he's got it working, and I believe he's got it working well, and God bless him, man, because that's awesome. I love seeing people that I know succeed, even if I don't like you. If I don't like you, and I still see you thriving and doing something you love, I'm happy for you. I'll still reach out to you. If I know somebody, I don't like them, but I see they did something extraordinary with their life, I'm like, hey, man, congratulations. Simple as that. It doesn't hurt anybody, and it's just the right thing to do. Because when you live that same lifestyle, man, it means a lot. So, what this guy does is he'll call that old client once a year. He calls it National Swiss Cheese Day. Where he's like, hey, he's like, sometimes he'll answer, sometimes he won't. But it's National Swiss Cheese Day. I don't know what else he does to celebrate, but for me, that's always been a real funny caveat to have. So if you're going to celebrate something, man, celebrate something that you fucking did yourself. Celebrate something that took some work. Not just being born. You didn't do a thing. You probably caused some complications and made it harder for everybody. You know, so you don't celebrate that. You celebrate the proper achievements and things that you've done, man. That you've freaking done. And you know what? On that note, my friends, I can turn this GPS off now. I know exactly where I am. We're getting off the exit now. I think it's high time we slam this pre-workout. So, boom. I hate that it's backwards. It drives me nuts. But not on the shaker, just on the camera, maybe. Maybe I see it backwards right now, but it's not actually backwards. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure. But in here, we have 2 scoops of the Tiger's Blood Pump, 1 scoop Cherry Cola Stim, surprise, surprise. The creatine is in the carbohydrate drink, which I actually don't have up here with me, because I was going to sip on this little energy drink instead. That's in my gym bag. Listen for the pop. Oof. Beautiful. That got on me a little bit. Cheers, my friends. So on that note, I'll see you inside, and let's freaking get it, baby.